Friend of mine, my literal child, my baby, my home and lifestyle brand designed to help you gather in the home is turning 2. Building a brand is very difficult and it is very expensive. I don't know if I can tease this. I'm going to. What I have been able to build is really thanks to so many other women around me that are also friends of mine, you know? When you launch a business, something that will surprise you is that the people that you think are guaranteed sales, or the people that are closest to you, will never buy a product. It is so rare. How much money did it take to start the brand? And just because you're an influencer doesn't mean that you're selling all this stuff, by the way. Like, there's a lot of influencers who are not converting literally at all. How did I get my brand into Anthropologie? So we've got aprons, we've got mitts, hopefully we have mahjong mats. And what brands don't tell you is that I think people have a pretty bad idea or stigma around TikTok shop, not realizing that, like, for us at least, like, still coming from us. If you are wanting to start a brand, I would recommend, hi house guests, you guys are coming over this week for a little birthday party, okay? Friend of mine, my literal child, my baby, if you will, the brand that I'm building, my home and lifestyle brand designed to help you gather in the home, is turning 2, okay? If you guys are watching on YouTube, you would see that I have a whole birthday party set up right now, and it actually looks quite cute. You should be watching on YouTube. But anyway, I am very excited about this. I cannot believe it's been 2 years. It's been 2 years of a lot of work. And we're going to get into like the genesis story, why I started it, how I started it, like how much stuff cost, how I got the brand into Anthropologie wholesale. So many of the questions that you guys have, questions about products, like all of the things. If you guys are interested in either the brand or like brand building in general, I think you guys are really going to like this episode. I haven't done just like a sit down solo on more of like my entrepreneurial journey, if you will. And I am wearing a 2-year-old hat right now. So like I will be taking this off whenever we start talking about business because I am a businesswoman, okay? But I'm really excited. I'm very proud. Building a brand is very difficult and it is very expensive. And I've worked very, very, very hard to be able to do so. And I am just proud of myself. So you guys are watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. Also, we need to be doing a little deal for you guys. So for the next 48 hours, if you guys are listening to this podcast, you guys can use code HouseGuest22 and we'll be doing 22% off. I just thought about that on the fly and here we are, okay? So anyways, I'm really excited. I don't really want to take off the hat just yet. Oh, we are having a little birthday party, okay, in Dallas at Le Bloom, which is the cutest new coffee shop that's also like a floral arrangement place, flowers. It's amazing. Literally so stunning. It's actually off the trail. It's so cute. We are going to be doing a little limited edition friend of mine drink all weekend long. I will have actually all the details in the show notes below because I don't have them right now. So we'll have all of that. And then we also will be doing a little walk so I can get all the girlies to meet each other. So all of you guys should come to this little walk on the trail with us. And then you can meet all the fellow like hobbyist girls, do your needle points, your mahjongs, like all the things in Dallas. It's going to be a lot of fun. So anyway, all of that information will be in the show notes below. It is happening this weekend. If you guys are in Dallas, I would love for you guys to come out and we can all hang out. I'm obviously going to be there and doing the walk and everything. So anyway, I think I need to take the hat off. I do feel like I do need to retire this hat, even though I do love it and I'm kind of obsessed. And I will be setting this up right here if you guys are watching on YouTube. I don't like the strap in front there. It's much better. So starting with like the genesis of Friend of Mine, the home brand, really takes me back to my childhood, okay? My mom and my grandma actually owned a bedding and a drapery business together, and they were like in Neiman's. They did very well. My mom was an interior decorator, and my grandma's a seamstress, so it kind of worked out like really perfectly. And they were doing bedding. It's actually kind of crazy because like Target had knocked off their stuff, like it's actually like wild. They did very well, but it was really only for a couple of years in my childhood. It was like before my parents got divorced. My childhood, like all of my memories were of us downtown McKinney, and they had a shop in the square, like downtown. If you guys are in Dallas, where Harvest is like where my childhood was, and that gazebo right by Harvest, which is now like a Michelin recommended. Not like where you have a Michelin star, but like it's on the Michelin list. Anyway, I don't know. Downtown McKinney having anything Michelin feels kind of crazy because it's like a cozy little like Gilmore Girls Stars Hollow thing. But anyway, I grew up always like going to work with them at their shop, and I would go and like I would make my own purses and my own pillows and all that stuff, and then I would like help them and I would clean up stuff and I would take all the pins and all the stuff. So I like grew up in that environment and I was obsessed with it. So I think that is really where like my love for like being an entrepreneur came from, because I feel like as a kid you really just like like replicate what you see. And I saw my mom and my grandma like owning their own business and designing their own stuff and is like kind of making something from nothing, which is where I think my love for that came from. So that is just kind of always, from a very young age, I always thought I was going to have a brand. I thought it was going to be a clothing brand when I was younger, but as I got older and I just started, I've always loved the home. Like I've always cared a lot about like where, you know, Susie Welch Values, which is the book that we're reading right now. What is the word for this? Let me look. It's actually one of my values and I'm totally blanking on the name, but I need to pull this up because it makes a lot of sense. Beholderism. Aesthetic appreciation and valuing beauty, whether in art, design, or life. Like I've always been so affected by my home space and environment. And so that's just always been something that I've loved. And I feel like as I got older, it just was like made way more apparent to me that like I cared more about the home than I did anything else. And like that's really where I needed to like head into. I've talked about this a billion times. We don't need to like get into this a ton, but I actually did have another brand before with a friend and we had done this like from college and we wanted to like do these sets and all this stuff. It was called the O Kind. And ultimately, like both of us just like wanted to go into like a different direction. There's like no beef, nothing. It like ended very amicably and like well, but it was something that I knew. I learned so much from that experience because I think if I would have just like sat down and listened to myself and slowed down for a second, I would have known that it probably wasn't the right match. And it didn't make sense because I had been building like my own personal brand for like a decade prior to that. And I needed to do something that leaned into like what I had already built versus starting something else, which we'll get into that later. So a little like more background, I guess, if you guys are new here. I am Kenzie. I started on YouTube when I was 16. I'm 28 now. I started this podcast when I was 21. And that's kind of like the trajectory of my life. I've been on making content. I've been like an influencer since before like the term influencer. Like I've been around for a very long time. And I then built, a friend of mine, my home brand, like from that community that I had started and kind of turned it into its own thing. And that's like its own brand. But obviously I'm the founder. That is what I'm working on all the time. And I just absolutely love it. Like it is truly my pride and joy. It's my favorite thing that I do in work, and it's something that I'm so passionate about and I see like such a bright future for. But anyway, once we had stopped and decided to like shut down the O Kind, it was so crazy because before like I was just having a really hard time like figuring out like where I wanted to go, and I felt like a lot of things in my career at the time specifically were not really complementing each other. Like I had my own YouTube channel and then I had the I Love You So Much podcast, which is, spoiler alert, it's literally the same podcast, but I just changed the name. And then I also had the O Kind, and I felt like it wasn't really a good ecosystem, if that makes any sense. So 2 years ago, once we ended the O Kind, that night, everything became clear to me. Like once we had made the decision to do that, not like so clear to where I was like, I know exactly what I'm going to do, but I felt like I had like a wind of energy and like inspiration. And that was when I decided I'm going to rebrand the podcast so it makes a little bit more sense with the brand. And then I'm going to start a home brand because really what I had been wanting to do for so long up until that point, I had been wanting and begging Dear Media actually to do recipe journals for my merch because we had like the breadwinning housewife stuff, we had the kitchen stuff, and it was doing well at the time. And I just really wanted to do a recipe journal. But when it comes to merch, you can't really just like build your own journal. You typically just like use a blank and then you just like put your name on it and your design. It's different. Like you don't have all of the like customizable options that you would when you're like developing your own product. Of course, when you're making merch, you're not also putting money down to do that because it's typically like print on demand. But when you're developing a product, I would have to buy X amount of units. I'd have to spend a ton of money. It's thousands and thousands of dollars, and you have to manufacture, then you have to do the website yourself, like whatever. It makes sense why merch is that way, but we just never found a recipe journal that I really loved and wanted to do. So finally, when all that happened, I was like, I am going to do a home brand. We're going to start with recipe journals because that is what I've been wanting to do for so long. It's something that I'm so passionate about and I'm obsessed with. And also, it's really great because starting in paper goods, it's easier. I felt better. One, cost-wise, it's cheaper than obviously doing like cut and sew stuff. Like the overalls are like 6 times more than that. The price of the unit, way more than that actually. Way more expensive, and it would have been a scarier thing to do. But when it comes to paper goods, it was a less chance for them to like mess it up and for it to be catastrophic. And also the cost was cheaper, it was better, it was easier for shipping, like the whole thing. So that's why I decided to start. Actually, I'm gonna be honest, it really wasn't as intentional. I really did just want to start with a recipe journal, and I got lucky coming from clothing, knowing that it was gonna be cheaper. It really, actually, looking back on it, I wish I could say, like, I knew it was gonna be like cheaper and this is a smarter move, but it ended up being a lot easier, and now I'm so glad that I did that. I feel like now I think that way, but like I don't think I really thought that way at the time. A lot of it really was luck, that is just what I wanted to like develop and start with first. And from that point, I loved conversation cards, and I'm also a host like on a podcast. I love to ask questions. I'm a very curious person. I love to do dinner parties and all that stuff. So from that point, I made the dinner cards, which are conversation cards. So there's 59 questions in each box. There's the dinner cards and then there's the nightcap cards. Each card has a different question, different conversation starter. It's just designed to like bring people together and to like open up the conversation. Every product that we've made has come from a place of like something that I felt I needed and wanted. So when I got really into cooking, like 6 years ago at this point, I really wanted a journal that housed all of my favorite recipes. And that was because I didn't want to be on my phone in the kitchen. And also there was too many cookbooks. I didn't want to print things out and have them separately. At the time, I didn't feel like I needed a binder just yet, which comes into play soon. But I just wanted a journal. I wanted it to be cute on my counter. I wanted to be able to pull it out and for it to just feel very cozy and wholesome, and like I wasn't on my phone scrolling 24/7. So that is how we got into the recipe journal. Then I started hosting all these dinner parties, and I found, and this is a lot of this I will say is like my issue now, having read The Art of Hosting by Priya Parker, literally the best book ever. We read that for House Guest Book Club. There is a podcast episode completely recapping it if you guys love to host, but I loved hosting dinner parties, and I wasn't really getting creative with my invite list, and I wasn't like protecting who I was inviting. I was inviting the same people all the time, and it was so easy for people to like click up, and you know, there'd be 7 people there, and 5 of them will have gone to high school together, and there's 2 new guests, and the people who went to high school are talking about the same high school drama every single time, which like, don't get me wrong, I love to beat a dead horse, but like it got to the point where like it felt rude, and also it just was like uninspiring and boring. I'm like, I'm putting so much effort into these dinner parties, and then we're talking about like your high school boyfriend that broke up with you like 4 years ago. You know what I mean? Like it just got to the point where I was like, I'm putting a lot of effort into these dinner parties, and I really want to make sure that there's like depth to them. Like we're talking about things that are really interesting. We're getting closer. We're like getting to know each other better. So I created the dinner cards, and then from the dinner cards came the nightcap cards, which are like a little bit less appropriate than the dinner cards. Therefore, like a nightcap, when you know you spent the night together already, you're having a nightcap, it's just naturally is getting a little bit deeper. And yeah, so those are like the 3 products that we started out with. And then it's, of course, evolved since then. Really what I care about in life is gathering people together. That is, like, my favorite thing in the entire world. I don't know if it's just my personality type, like, my innate, like, aptitudes that Susie Welch would tell me. I don't know if it's that I'm a child of divorce. Like, I really don't know what it is, but I've always just loved gathering people together, and I love the home. So with a friend of mine, it's a brand that's built to help you gather people in the home. We're gonna go so much more into like different hobbies and everything, because all of my hobbies that I love that make the world go round are all in the home. So anyways, those are the first like 3 products that we did. And then we developed a recipe binder for people who needed more space and wanted to like put other things in and just like, you know, actually put them in a binder versus like rewriting them and stuff. So we have the recipe binders. These are all, every product that I'm mentioning right now should be available when this episode's up, by the way. And then we did some needlepoint stuff, which we have, I don't know if I can say anything just yet, but we do have a lot of other needlepoint products coming, so don't worry. And we expanded into a ton of other stuff. We've got hats, we have the overalls, we have aprons that are launching very, very, very soon, aprons and mitts, and I'm so excited about that. We've got Kindle cases coming, we've got tote bags, pouches, like we have so many things coming that I'm so proud of and I'm so excited for. But that's really just like the elevator pitch, if you will, for a friend of mine. It's a brand to help you gather people in the home, and it is truly my favorite thing in the entire world. Let's get into like actually, I guess, building a brand and like starting the brand. I will take you through start to finish exactly what I did. So in my case, we decided to end the brand that I was working on, and I had decided that I was going to start my own brand. I knew immediately that I wanted to do recipe journals because that is something that I've been thinking about for years. 1, wanting it myself, and 2, creating one for my own community that I built online. Also, it is important to note, I will say, that I had built my own community online the past decade prior. I don't love when people are like, oh my God, it must be so easy. Like, yeah, you already have a following. Like, yes, of course, that does make it easier for sales, but also like you have to build a following. So it's like, I didn't just like wake up and have a following. I wasn't someone who's like ever gone like viral overnight, which is, you know, probably my fault, but like, you know what I mean? Like I built a brand before I built another brand, and that brand then helped to build this brand. But I do think like building in public has been really helpful. I don't feel like I'm nearly as good at that as I need to be. I need to be posting way more, filming meetings, doing things like that. But I just feel like because I vlog so much and whatever, I just like kind of get in my head about it. But if you are wanting to start a brand, I would recommend getting on TikTok immediately, talking to camera every single day, telling them what you're doing, showing them products, prototypes, all the things. I need to be better at that, like so much better at that. And it is something that I really do want to improve on and like make number one priority, because I think really majority of our sales, that's where they've come from, unless they're obviously on the wholesale like back end, but that has been like invaluable. So anyway, it's the night that we have both decided that we're ending that brand. That night I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start my own brand. By the next morning I was like, I'm starting my own brand. I'd called a couple friends, been like, this is what's happening. What do you think I should do? And they were like, absolutely, this is a gift. This is exactly what you should be doing. And so from that point on, I was like, okay, done. I just need a name and I need a logo. Like that's really what I need to do. Picking a name. It is my least favorite thing in the entire world. I'm not very good at creating names, which is, I've changed the podcast name. That's like a very big weakness of mine, but I was trying to think of something that I said a lot and something that would make sense when it comes to like gathering people in the home. And when it comes to homemaking or hosting, I'm always like, oh, a friend of mine told me this, a friend of mine's coming over, a friend of mine did this. And homemaking is like inherently very social. So a friend of mine just kind of stuck, and that's what I ended up going with. I reached out to a designer that I'd used for the podcast, I believe at this point, and I did a whole like branding package with her. I had like a mood board of everything that I wanted. This is kind of what I picture for the brand. This is like more of the identity, the voice, like this is what I've really loved. And she came back and gave me all that stuff. From that point, I had a website built. When it comes to the actual like production, I'm so like passionate about how I really do think you need to build in public. And I also need to think it's really beneficial to like tell the right people what you're doing. Like I have so many entrepreneurial friends who are also like building things or in like similar spaces that I will go to and be like, hey, I'm doing this. Like, what do you think? Like, I like to hear, one, I like to get their feedback. And two, it's really helpful because we are always like connecting each other with people. So I called Lauren Elizabeth up and I was like, this is what I'm doing. Wanted to get your thoughts on this, whatever. She said, that's amazing. And also I have a good like paper goods manufacturer for you. She connected me with them and I've used them for the past 2 years and we're like constant, like they're amazing. They're an incredible team and they are who has done literally all of our paper goods. So love that. And then from that point on, it's just been like meeting new people, finding new manufacturers. I feel like when I was starting a brand or wanting to start a brand, I was like, how the hell do you even find people to make these products? Because none of this stuff is like public knowledge. And a lot of it is actually, if you like go on LinkedIn, but a lot of it I think is like building your network. I also think having a podcast is really, really helpful and invaluable. And I think even if like you are someone who's wanting to build a brand and you are just wanting to learn about that, honestly, start a podcast about it. Even if that's not like your end-all be-all thing, you are more likely to get someone on a podcast than you are to just like pick their brain. Like I know people don't love to get emails of like, hey, like a lot of these people who are really successful are getting 100 emails a day or DMs a day being like, hey, we'd love to grab coffee. And like those people don't have time. But if you have something that you can offer them that's beneficial to them as well, that's amazing. Also, keep in mind, like, you can learn from people of all different industries and they don't need to be like the Immigrants of the world. Like, you can find people who are building a boutique in your area. You can find people who are building like a butter brand, whatever it is, and learn from them. I think just like building your network, for lack of a better word. I love, not to bring up Susie Welch again on the podcast, I literally take a shot every time I bring up Susie Welch. But in the book club book that we're reading right now for House Guest Book Club, she talks about how she hates networking and like really doesn't believe in it. And I actually really agree with her. I think it's life in general is just about like building friendships with people that you genuinely care about and like genuinely not looking for anything in return, because years later, like friends try to help each other. You never like get your big break from like an acquaintance, you know, like those are like from friendships. And what I found in my career from, you know, making content for years is that I was accidentally building this like really, really vast network unintentionally, because these are just people that I love and that I would do anything for. And I do like connect and be the person that connects with people. That's a huge thing too, because I'm always connecting people. Like even before they've asked, I'm like, oh my gosh, you would be amazing with this person, whatever. And that has come back. I wasn't doing that like looking to get something back. I genuinely just love connecting people, but that has come back to help me so many times, because then it's like, Lauren, I'm able to like get an actual like literal manufacturer, which asking someone for their manufacturer in business is like asking for like their serial like number. Like it's actually like that, or their social security number. Yeah, that is what I was trying to say. It's just like not really something you do, especially if you're not close with someone. So anyway, I would focus on building like genuine friendships with people and investing in them and sharing them. If you have friends also around you, side note, that are building companies, literally liking and commenting on every single post that they have. Like that is that simple. You don't even need to buy all the product. When you launch a business, something that will surprise you is that the people that you think are guaranteed sales, or the people that are closest to you, will never buy a product. It is so rare. It's maybe 3% of them will, because they're expecting something for free, or they're just like, I don't know. I don't really know what it is, because I'm on the other side of making product and selling product. The second I see someone, even that I'm not close with, like launch something, I'm buying that immediately. Even if it isn't something that I would use, I will gift it, because I know how much that takes and I know what it means. Because people, I don't really know what it is. I think they're almost like just too close and thinking they're getting everything for free. I really don't know what it is. I've talked to so many friends who are also like female entrepreneurs, and we all say the same thing. They're like, the people that you think would like show up and support the business like never do, which is fine. Like you're not owed that, whatever, that's okay. But if you are listening to this and like you have friends around you that are building businesses, just like and comment on the Instagram post, share it to your stories, do something like that. Like that's a really inexpensive way to like support your favorite brands or like things that your friends are building. So anyway, so we went from name. I had the idea of what I wanted to build: name, logo, website. I use Shopify for everything. I also was set up with my fulfillment center from telling someone that I love, Jenna from Fitish, love her so much, Jenna Page. She's incredible. She was on Kiss FM for like ever. And she was over at my house, we were recording, and I was just talking to her because she's built this massive brand. And I was like, yeah, so we're going to close the O kind, and this is what I'm going to do. And I will say it was so reaffirming, because every single person that I told at that point that I was doing that has been like, that is 100% what you need to be doing. They're like, this just doesn't make sense for you. Like, you don't really need to be like in this partnership. Like, it just like didn't really make sense. Like nothing was adding up. Like the products that we were releasing weren't really like products that were like super true to me. And like, it just like, it didn't make sense. It wasn't a good fit for like anyone who was involved. And they were like, this is exactly what you need to be doing. So they were all very helpful. And she was like, oh my gosh, and I have a great fulfillment center too, if you want me to connect you with them. So she connected me with them, and that was the next thing. Like a lot of what I have been able to build is really thanks to so many other women around me that are also friends of mine, you know? That's from building those friendships over the years and like really not expecting anything like less of that. Also, if you're looking, if like you're really new, like there's different like entrepreneur like female groups in so many different cities. Like I know like Dallas has Dallas Girl Gang. Like there's so many groups like that you can find on TikTok, or even just like if you see a girl who's like building a company on TikTok, like DM, reach out. Like I think especially in entrepreneurship, it's very isolating and it can be very lonely, and people like do not understand it and do not get it. Of course, like why would they if they're not doing it? So it's really nice to like find people around you that are able to do that. Like my friend Allie has been like a big sister to me for like years now. She's who made me do the date challenge. Who's been like a very pivotal person in my life since I've met her. She's also an entrepreneur, but she's someone that I go to for honestly everything in my life, which is a rare thing. But when it comes to work stuff, we're always calling each other, and I'm like, hey, can I run this by you? Can you look at this? Can you audit this? Can you tell me what you think about this? And she has been so invaluable to not only myself, but also to a friend of mine. And I'm just so grateful. Again, I wasn't even planning on going here with the podcast, but I am really grateful for the friends of mine in my life that have helped me then build the brand. Even like Macy Thompson, my best friend, we did the Bit collaboration, which is available. Those are like the most fun for like a girls' night in. And then one of my really close friends, one of my best friends of forever, Keaton Milburn, we did the book club cards. They're literally right here. They're stunning. And those are cards that are meant to help you host book club. So there's 3 different categories. We've got thriller, fantasy, and romance. And that was just birthed from our friendship and our mutual love of books. And I love to host Sheila's Books book club and being able to do that. So it's just been really amazing to have people that have like come around and like been open to collaborations and open to just like helping the brands. And I love to help. I love helping people with their stuff, like any sort of connection and stuff. Like business is really like what makes me come alive. And I just love it. So that's really how it started. And then just trying to give you like short story of timeline. So we launched in September of 2023. I would say it really took off December of 23. Not that the brand has taken off. It's like nowhere near, of course, where I want it to be. But it really took off December 2023 on TikTok Shop. Like that really has what has helped us so much. From that point, we did hire a PR team probably 5 months later, I would say. I've been working with them for a bit now. or was it this year? When did I start working with them? No, it was last year. Last summer, probably. And we brought them on just not because I'm like, I need a publicist, but because a PR team is really helpful. And what brands don't tell you is that, one, for wholesale, which is like a huge focus of mine right now, like placements and like PR placements in publications really help to legitimize your brand. And also it really helps on the wholesale back end because, again, it's like legitimizing your brand. PR is incredible because we're able to get, the show on the road. We're able to get our product into different people's hands. We're able to host events. We're able to get, placement in Forbes and Better Home and Gardens and like Yahoo and all of these things. And it's just great, obviously, for relationships. Like that was like one of the first things that we did bring on that I feel like has actually been very, very helpful. We've also been able to do like podcast stuff. Like it's been like kind of an overall 360 thing. That is something that we did. The very, very first person that I brought on actually was our accountant who does all of our stuff and like all of our forecasting. I meet with her once a month. She tells me like what we can afford, what we can't afford, if we're doing well, if we're not doing well, and she comes into it. So the first was on retainer, like actual retainer, was our finance girl, because that is something I could never figure out. And like it would be like, wee I'm getting arrested and the IRS is taking me in. And not only is this company in shambles, I am behind bars. So I did hire that. Then I hired a designer. Everyone's on retainer. We don't have any full-time employees still. So we would have been working with a designer the entire time. That was like the first really expense. And then I hired one on retainer. And now she really is like our creative director, which she does so much. Haley, you guys probably have seen her on our socials. She's so insanely talented and so good and just the best person ever. She's amazing. So that, and then PR. So those are really like the top ones. I will say we also hired a wholesale team, which was a big waste, not because I think a wholesale team would be a waste. I'm looking for the right hire. It just wasn't the right fit. And it sucked because like what ended up happening was that I actually got Anthropology on my own, and then they started that day, so I had them negotiate it and then them do stuff. And like really all of the wholesale stuff the orders that we've done have actually been either through me or TikTok. So that ended up being something that I do regret. And then I would hire a couple like random like VAs and stuff throughout. And like overall, those things were not worth it. Like that was wasted money. In other ways, actually, I should just get into the Q&A because now I feel like I'm just like answering questions preemptively. If I had to do anything differently, I think, one, I love that we're building a community brand. I would have gone crazier on TikTok. I would have been like, this is what we're doing. I would have probably hosted more events. The problem with me is that I just feel so spread thin between all of my other stuff just in general. But I would have done events where there was like more meetups in person. When Glossier started, I know they did this, where they would have girls come into the office, they'd have like pizza and wine, and they would have them like test all of their products. I would have done that earlier on. I would have documented it a lot more. I would have documented my founder journey, like my life depended on it. And I still say that, and I'm still not doing it now, and I need to be. So that is something that I would be doing differently, especially if you're someone who wants to start a brand and you're not doing it with like the influencer thing. And just because you're an influencer doesn't mean that you're selling all this stuff, by the way. Like there's a lot of influencers who are not converting literally at all. And just because like someone has a platform doesn't mean that like their brand is going to be successful. I think we've seen a billion things like crash and burn, of course, like absolutely. But when it comes to like building a community brand, I really do think like it's so helpful to be filming yourself, building the company. And I think I would have done more things around the community. And I want to do more community events just in general. Like we're going to be doing Mahjong classes, we're going to be doing needlepoint stuff, not even stuff that's always like moving product for us, even though, I mean, transparently, that needs to be our main focus because we are a small business. Like at the end of the day, we need money to be able to like even host these events in the first place. But I do want to be doing things that are just bringing people together and making friends because, of course, it's a friend of mine. It's all about community and connection. Okay, number one, how much money did it take to start the brand? So I don't have the exact number, but I will say initially it was around, I would guess like $15,000. I have self-funded the entire brand. Transparently, I've had to put so much more money back into the brand. We've had a really rough year. Last year, we were doing amazing and I really wasn't having to like spend a ton of my own money. Now I've had to like front so much stuff. So overall, I have absolutely no idea. Overall, I do want to say it was around $15,000. That was including our first batch of recipe journals, the branding package, the photography and the shoot, and our website. Maybe it was around 17. I think we spent like $2,000 on the website. Branding was probably around that. Product was probably 10 grand. The photo shoot was probably like another $1,000-ish, give or take. So that was around when we were starting, like how much I put into it. But since then I have had to put, and that's just because like the product hasn't been selling as well. And like, it's been a tougher year business wise, or I wanted to do something that was, bigger, and like we wouldn't have been in the place anyway, and blah, blah, blah. Mistakes that we've made. I already went into how I wish we wouldn't have hired the wholesale team, because I do feel like that was a drain. And also I don't feel like they really did anything that would have made sense. Like they would come to us, and it was really just the wrong team, but they would come to us with like stores to sell the product in that like wouldn't even make sense. Like things that I was just like, they really didn't get it. I feel like I've been really lucky in a lot of with our other hires of people, like they're women who get the brand, see the brand, and can expand on that vision. And when it came to this team, like I don't feel like that was it. And I made the mistake. It's completely my fault. I should not have hired them. I knew that from the start, but I made a decision because I was stressed. And like when I've made decisions because I'm stressed or feeling like pressed, like down to the wire on something, or like I can't handle it all, I very rarely make the right decision. So that is something that I wasted. Also, I bought too much product, just period. Like we bought so many family cards, and like I should not have bought that many family cards, but it was holiday. Things were doing really well. I love the family cards. The family cards, by the way, are my favorite product that we've ever done. They were made in like memory of my little brother, but actually I have them right here. They're a generational card game. So we have questions for your grandparents, for your siblings, and for your parents. And it's just a really sweet gift. And it's a really fun game to play, especially around the holidays, like when you're with your family all the time. I have gotten so many messages that have made me like actually sob from people being like, oh my God, it's so crazy. I never thought my dad would want to play this. We played this and it was like the most memorable thing ever. And he's the one who keeps asking to play. Like I just love those cards, and I'm so passionate about it. And I think I let that get in the way of like even like product market fit and how many realistically we were going to sell. And we bought way too many. Like we have so many still, which we sold a lot, don't get me wrong, and they've been a top seller, but we just had too many units to begin with. And then you have to think about storage fees, and you have to think about like shipping. It's another thing. It's just like a whole thing. So anyways, that was another problem that I've made. Wrong hires, ordering too many units. Let me see. I did write down some other things. I can't even begin to tell you how many mistakes that I've made, guys. That's actually all I put down. There's definitely more. Okay, someone asked, what is your dream product? I really am so excited for us to do robes and pajama sets. I have worn a matching pajama set and a robe and slippers pretty much every single day of my life since I was a baby. Like I am always in a matching pajama set. Like one thing about me, I'm going to be in a matching pajama set and robe. So I'm so excited to do that with a friend of mine. It's been one of those products that we pushed off. One, because I'm very particular and I wanted to find the right team, which I think we have found the right team for it. But I also, it's expensive. It's also just more expensive. But I'm so particular about that. So that, and then also I can't wait to get into like dishware. Like I can't wait to get into like actual like plates. That it will just like, imagine a plate wall of all my own plates. Like, oh my God, imagine the friend of mine office one day, which ideally would be a house, and we have a whole plate wall of nothing but like friend of mine plates. This morning I was like walking to this office building because I was going to get a blowout in there, and I walked in and I was like, oh my gosh, one day when I'm like walking into an office with a friend of mine, like it's just gonna be so magical and so incredible. And yeah, so those are like my products that I'm probably like looking forward to the most. Oh, also, I don't know if I can tease this. I'm going to. I mean, like I'm the boss, but I do respect other people. We are currently looking into doing mahjong mats. Like we're in the process of like very early stages of developing samples for those. And mahjong mats will be like literally chef's kiss amazing. I wanted to do it as a collab at first, but then I was like, I think we should just do it ourselves. So, okay, someone's asking the story behind Dolly. So, Dolly is our hen. She's here on my overall. She's on my overall's butts. Actually, we have chickens above me in the set. I grew up in a home that had roosters everywhere. And I don't mean like actual living, breathing roosters. I mean, there were roosters everywhere on all of the decor, like the porcelain roosters that were everywhere, like the chalkboard thing, like the rooster wallpaper. And it was my house, my cousin's house, and then my other cousin's house. We all had roosters everywhere. So roosters are very, very nostalgic to me. And it's something that like reminds me of my childhood. And I'm a very nostalgic, sentimental person. So when I was building this brand, and I come from a family of interior decorators, my aunt, who I had the same relationship with that like I have with my niece now, she's also an interior decorator. And like my other aunt is all into design and stuff as well. So like I come from like a very long line of interior decorators. So when I was building this brand, that was kind of my way of like a nod to my family and like my roots and where I came from, like where my love for the home came, because that, like when I think of my home as a child, it was roosters everywhere. So that is where Dolly came from. And then we named her Dolly, obviously after Dolly Parton, and she is everything. Okay, any hints on upcoming launches? I feel like I've already hinted that a bunch. We've got aprons, we've got mitts. Hopefully we have mahjong mats. We do have the Kindle cases and totes, which has been a literal nightmare. That's another thing that's been really hard about building a brand coming from the space that I've been in, which like obviously I was in content creation and like outside of like the production team and the video team and the podcast stuff, like for the most part, if I want something done, I can get it done because it all is like on me. If something isn't done, it's because I haven't done it. When it comes to product, people can tell you a sample's done in 2 weeks and they could take 6 weeks and like just be lazy and like not want to do it and like push things back. Like I've had to learn a lot of patience and it's been really frustrating because like your timeline isn't fully on you. Like for me, if I want to get something done, I'll just get it done. But that's not really how it works, obviously, with like normal business. And I'm sure like anyone listening to this is like, yeah, that's my job. I just like didn't have that experience before. And also because I'm developing like my own product, like I want it now. So that's been something that's like been annoying, but you know, it's just life and a job. So how did I get my brand into anthropology? So I want to share this story because I used to Google all the time how to get my brand into anthropology. And I would read things and it would tell me it was going to take like 2 years. Now, when I started Friend of Mine, my number one goal for Friend of Mine was to get it into anthropology. Like that is my number one goal. I've always been so excited. Still, my number one goal is to get it into the stores physically. But I was obsessed, okay? And I was doing all this research. I listened to all these podcasts. I'd watched all these videos. And it was all these people saying it's really, really hard to do. And it's probably not going to happen for a couple years. It's a like 2-year-long process, this whole thing. So it was something that like I always knew deep in my soul was going to happen, but I wasn't like holding my breath. I wasn't thinking like, oh, this is possible now. So one day I was posting TikToks and I was doing all those like anthropology hauls. And again, like I'm posting anthropology, one, because I love anthropology. It's my favorite store that I shop at always. And like I do work with them also on like my influencer stuff, but also because like I love anthropology and I want them to like notice and then like, you know, see Friend of Mine. Everything's strategic, okay? So I did this huge like anthropology haul, Christmas haul, and I was getting comments that were like, oh my gosh, Friend of Mine needs to be in anthropology. And I was like, totally agree. Yes, keep the comments coming and tag them while you're here, you know? And I happened to reply to one of the comments from this girl who's really nice. I'm not going to say her name just for like privacy, but she was so kind and replied and was like, wait, she had said like, oh my God, Friend of Mine needs to be an anthro. And I was like, no, literally my dream. She replied and was like, I'm actually a buyer at Anthropology. Can I connect you? And I was like, screaming, crying, throwing up. This is the greatest day of my life. I'm like actually going to lose my mind. So from there, she connected me over email. That was the day that the wholesale team I had hired was brought on. So it was like, this was like an outside thing. And I connected them with the wholesale team and they had said to me like a week later, they're like, okay, cool. Like we sent samples, like we should be, you know, hearing from them in the next week. When they said hearing from them in the next week, it genuinely did not even cross my mind that they would place an order. I just thought because I had seen all this stuff about how it takes 2 years, I thought like, oh great, they'll be like, you know, we like the product, maybe when the brand's bigger, maybe X, Y, and Z. It genuinely did not cross my mind that it was even a possibility that they would be placing an order at that time. So a week later, I get an email from Anthropology that's just like an order and how many units that they're ordering of the dinner cards and the nightcap cards. They actually are picking up hosting journals too. And I literally cried. Like I got it. I was literally sitting, I was like reading, I was doing my little Devo in the morning in my house. And I just happened to like pick up my phone, you know, of course, because we're all addicted. And I check my email and I see it and I instantly tears. I'm crying. Like I was like, oh my God, I have to film this. I like have to film this because I cannot forget this moment ever. It was just amazing. And then from there, we had sent them the stuff. They shoot all the product. And then, I didn't even know when it was launching. I just was at my sister's like bridal thing. We were shopping for her wedding dress and I started getting DMs from y'all being like, oh my God, Friend of Mine's on Anthropology. Oh my God. And I was like, wait, are we on? We're live? And that was it. And I was at the Adolphus at the French tea room and it was amazing. And by the next Monday, they'd already placed another order and it's been going literally great. And I'm just obsessed with them. We are expanding into other wholesale. Like I want to be in Nordstrom. I want to be in Urban Outfitters. I want to be in Williams-Sonoma. Like there's so many different like retailers that I really want us to go. I would love to go into like smaller boutiques as well. We are at like certain ones, like a couple like random smaller stores, but I really, really want to expand on like our wholesale strategy in general. So that's been exciting. We've also had I don't want to jinx the other stuff that's happening, but I'm very excited about that. And my next thing is I really want us to be in Anthropology in stores and I really want to be in Nordstrom, because also I grew up in Nordstrom. Like we would do like the Nordstrom anniversary sale for like back to school every year, and I'd like get a couple things during the sale. And I just love being there. To this day, it's still like my favorite place. Like the day that I go into North Park Mall and like a friend of mine is sold in Anthropologie and Nordstrom, like I will sob. Like I will also move into the mall at that point, but that's what I need. I would love Barnes & Noble as well. I would love Target. Like, of course, these are huge retailers, but I will say, like, I think it was so amazing that our first retailer was like my dream retailer, because it really made me think like, oh, my dreams need to be like way bigger than this. Like that was the first thing that we got, you know? And it was just amazing. So I'm really, really proud of that. And I'm so, so grateful to the girl who commented. I know her name. I follow her. I feel like she's my bestie, but I don't want to say her name just in case like she doesn't want her name out there. I don't know. But I love that girl, seriously. Okay, biggest lesson, I would say listen to yourself and trust your gut. Anytime things haven't gone super well for the most part, I didn't trust my gut. And I would say that goes back to like my original, I would say just in business in general. I would also say it's really important to know what you're good at, which again, not to bring everything in the world on this podcast back to Susie Welch, but that book is really helpful when it comes to that. And she talks about aptitudes, and it's just like kind of what you're born with, what you're good at. And I'm someone, also, I will say in my college experience, my internship, like a mentor of mine was really good at like pulling out what you were good at and just like identifying it for you. And she's the first person who said this to me, and it really made everything else in my life make sense. And I was just ranting about this issue that I was having, and she's like, yeah, because you're a visionary, like you are someone who like has like the big idea and the big picture, and you see all this, and like you have to keep moving because you have another idea. Like you need to have people who are then able to like implement it beneath you. Like I'm not a detail oriented person. I am a big picture, big visionary person. But anyway, knowing what you're good at and then being able to like hire out from that, even as obviously finances, I'm not good at that, hired out for that. Design, I can't do that, hired out for that. But also like I need someone for ops. Like there's so many, like I know what my hires need to be when I'm making like full-time hires for like generalist, but that's been like huge. I feel so old holding my phone like this, but it's just kind of a wider thing, so it's okay. Okay, people are asking, what's your dream event? I have this dream for an event that's like a grandma weekend. Like, you know how people will have like stitch weekends? Like they'll do like a needlepoint weekend on Nantucket or whatever. I have this dream where we have like this really cute, maybe coastal or on a ranch in Texas boutique hotel where people come, and it's a grandma weekend, and there's like stitch nights, stitch classes, sourdough classes. We do mahjong stuff. We do like Pilates. Like I have this dream cozy weekend where it's like a friend of mine weekend. If anyone would be interested in that, like please let me know. And also like I'm always open. Like this is why I'm always sharing things with you guys, because one, I love to connect y'all, and two, I like chances are if I say something out loud, like someone is listening, which is the benefit of like building in public. But if you know a cute little boutique hotel that would like make sense. Also, like if you guys are someone who would be interested in doing that, like what would you feel comfortable paying for a ticket for that? But I just think that'd be so fun. I also want to do like a holiday house, like a crazy Christmas thing. I want our events to be like insanely experiential. I want collections to be these huge drops. Like there's so many things that I really want to do. I think a hurdle for me has been, and I think I've been better at it this time around, but like knowing where we're at, like there's so many things that I would love to do and love to do better, but I understand that like we're not in a place where we can afford that. And also we don't have the bandwidth of the capability. So not pushing too hard, like knowing when to push enough, but not push too hard to where you're going to crumble, has been like a really big thing for me as well. So that's hard for me because I'm so like, let's go, let's get the show on the road. You know what I mean? Hardest part, I would say this year has been really difficult. Sales have been down. It's just been a hard year to run a business in general. Being the smallest team ever, we don't even have we don't have a full-time employee still. And I just feel very, very spread thin, and I don't want to spread thin the people that are working with us, like at all. I really love our team, and I'm so grateful for them. So I don't want to do that. Another thing, guys, I'm so sorry. I totally forgot to say this when it came to making hires. I'm literally so sorry. We did hire someone. I wouldn't recommend who we did it through now, but we did hire someone to run like the ops end, and like they were the ones who then were able to connect. I cannot believe I didn't say this earlier. I'm so sorry if you didn't get to the end of this episode, but we hired like a middleman team. We hired Pietra at the time, and it was really helpful because they were able to then connect us with manufacturers and teams. So like I will literally text them and be like, hey, I need this apron made. I want it to look like this and I want this. And like within an hour, I'm connected on email with the team that can do that. So that has been really helpful. But there's also people who are doing that like as consultants. Like I would hire a consultant, honestly, over that, which is probably like I'm not gonna get into the details of that because like I know there's been a lot of people who've had like insane Pietra issues that I've been seeing on TikTok and stuff. So I don't want to recommend them, but just in general, like there's always consultants that are able to do that, like an ops consultant. But that has been immensely helpful, and I cannot believe that I forgot to say that earlier. I'm so sorry. But that has been like a huge huge help for us. Also, I will say, like on a more personal level, like building a company while grieving, like my brother passed away 4 months in. No, yeah, 4 months in to launching this company. And so like doing that, having everything rely on me, you need to do the shoots, you need to do it's just, again, of course, like when you start, you're doing every single job, obviously, but of course, like the workload is less because it's not as big of a company. Obviously, I'm not trying to say I'm doing 17 like full-time jobs, but you are spread thin because you're doing a ton of different stuff. And just to have something that was it's been so hard when it comes, like I look at other entrepreneurs and I'm like, genuinely jealous because I'm like, if only I was like mentally well when I was doing this, like where could we be? You know what I mean? But again, everyone's going through their own thing. But that has been really difficult. And then another question is, what has been the biggest way of getting sales? Outside of me and like my obviously community online, I would say TikTok shop. Like that was a huge thing. I think people have a pretty bad like idea or stigma around TikTok shop, not realizing that like for us at least, like TikTok shop is really just a way of connecting you like with our actual store, and it's still coming from us. Like the way that you guys are receiving a product from TikTok shop is the exact same way that you're receiving the products from our website or like from our website. But TikTok shop was amazing because especially when it was starting, because they were boosting your videos and they were also offering like different incentives and stuff to the customers. Like they were doing discounts and they were paying the stores, which was really helpful. So TikTok shop was a huge thing for us. Also like certain influencers that just love the brand. Like I always say like Shannon Ford, who's another dear friend of mine. Producer Courtney is here with me right now. Speaking of things that Shannon Ford has helped me with, but she is just the most amazing friend that there is. Like she's just so kind, so amazing, so great. She's always sharing products. She sells more than any influencer that posts our stuff. If any brand's listening to this, hire Shannon Ford. But she's just been so incredible and really supportive of the brand. So I would say influencers that like make sense for the niche, and Shannon makes sense. Like she loves home stuff and she's in the South. I think that's like really our bread and butter. That's actually not even really where our top places are. But I would say if you are a brand starting out, don't go, I mean, Shannon's massive. I'm saying this outside of Shannon, but just in general, don't target the people with like 5 million followers. Target like a smaller micro influencer who's in your specific niche, because they're probably still going to sell more than even if you got that person with 5 million followers to like post your product. You're going to sell more when it's someone where like the niche really makes sense and adds up. I think there's so many questions. I'll be answering questions like probably all week on TikTok as well if I didn't get to them in this episode. The last question I will answer that I forgot to answer is, what are you most proud of? And I think on a product standpoint, like what I'm most proud of are the family cards. I love those so much. I'm also like more recently just like so obsessed with our overalls. So I wear them every single day. And like I cannot believe that I grew up, like the whole genesis of friend of mine obviously comes from like my mom and my grandma. And I grew up in the house with my mom wearing overalls every single day. So it was like a nod to my mom. And as I became older, as I got older, I was wearing overalls all the time. It was just like a really natural thing. It's also like my house uniform. I'm either in pajamas or overalls. And I love those. But overall, honestly, like I would say also launching on Anthropologie was such a huge thing. And that was so meaningful to me because it was like my biggest goal and dream. But more than that, honestly, like I get emotional even after meetings sometimes. I'm like about to cry. Like, am I okay? Like yesterday, this is pre-recorded, just so you guys know, before I'm breaking the fourth wall. But we were on our production calls and our PR calls and stuff this week, and I love everyone that we work with. And like every time I get off those calls, like in the middle of the production call, Taylor and Travis got engaged, or they posted that they got engaged, and everyone was screaming, and like we just had so much fun. And I got off the call, and every time I'm getting off those calls, I'm just thinking, despite how hard it is to start a business, it is so expensive, it is so grueling, it is so difficult. You are constantly putting out fires. I feel like I haven't gotten into how hard it is on this podcast episode enough. It is really, truly so hard, but it is so rewarding and so fulfilling to me because I'm building something that I love. And like I get off those calls, and even when I'm doing things that I absolutely hate or that are so confusing, or I'm so in over my head and I'm having imposter syndrome, or I'm stressed or I'm anxious and I like have no idea what I want to do and I want to quit and do all these, I never really want to quit, but like I just want to like be done. I'm still, at the end of the day, so happy and so inspired and fulfilled by like what we're doing, because I genuinely love the brand that we're building. And to me, it is bigger than just the brand. It's about bringing people together. And I just love it. So even when, that's why I think if you're going to do this, you need to be doing something, or at least for me with my personality type, like if I was going to be doing something, I needed to be doing something that I was like so passionate about, because at the end of the day, like when I'm doing things that I absolutely hate, or I'm having to put in another like $10,000 of my own money, I am doing it like happily in a way. I mean, maybe not $10,000 happily, but like I'm doing it in a way where like I truly believe in it and I love it so much and it brings me so much joy. And I also know like what it can do for other people. Like the recipe journals hopefully will be like a family heirloom that you'll keep forever and you'll pass down to people. Like hopefully all of these cards like bring you closer together, like with the needlepoint stuff, like everything is like creating a moment and a memory. And I always say like your house should look like you and it should tell a story. And I think that friend of mine does a really good job of doing that and bringing that to life and like bringing people together in the home. And I am just so proud of this brand. And despite it having been the hardest year and a half of my life, it has been really like a light at the, not end of the tunnel, but it's been like a light in the darkness for me. And it's something that I just love. And I'm so proud of myself for like being able to do. And gets going on. I don't know what I'm saying at this point, but I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm always happy to do more stuff that's more on like the business back end if you guys are interested in this. I know like a lot of you guys are probably not interested in starting businesses, but I did just want to talk about a friend of mine and like the heart behind it and celebrate our 2-year anniversary. I'm going to put my little birthday cap back on. My hair is really messed up. I can't do this in a mirror, but I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Happy 2-year anniversary or birthday. This is a birthday episode. Happy 2nd birthday to a friend of mine, my favorite brand in the entire world. We are doing the flash sale. All the details will be in the show notes for all the podcast listeners. I love you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will talk to you guys next week. Also, if y'all are in Dallas, don't forget about the La Bloom drink and our walk this weekend.